channel. So I'm just going to get right into it. Today we are going to be making some wax melts. I will be using TW30 tart wax, which is the soy wax for these wax melts. I'm going to be making two 5-count batches, 2 different fragrances. So let's get right into it. I have my paper here with my measurements. Put it in grams. Tear out my scale. For 5 clamshells, I will be using 336 grams of wax. TW30 wax is a very hard wax. I'm using a Halloween pumpkin carving knife to cut this up. So that's 336. I'm going to measure the same thing for this one. So now I'm going to weigh out my fragrance oil. Spray this out with alcohol to get the old fragrance out. We're trying to get as much of the old fragrance smell out. Okay. So to tear that out, I'm going to need for 5 clamshells, 50 grams of fragrance oil, which is 15%. TW30 takes up to 18% fragrance load. Pour a little bit too much. Perfect. And then I'm going to weigh out my second fragrance. Perfect. So I got my 2 fragrance oils, and I'm about to go to the stove and warm up my wax, and I'll be back. So I got my setup right here. This is an extra pitcher because I'm going to marble these candles. I got my dyes. Got my first set of wax melt set out, and then the wax is in the double boiler method, heating up. I'll come back once it's heated. So just check the temperature, and it is right at about 200 degrees. So I'm going to take it off and add the fragrance oil immediately. I'm going to stir for 2 minutes, and while this is stirring, I'm going to add my second pitcher to the water so that it can start to heat. I typically stir for about 2 minutes. I'm going to go off camera and just stir this, and then I'll come back. So the temperature is at about 160 right now, so I'm going to pour a small portion of the wax into a smaller container to color. Pour about that much in there to color. I'm trying to do this on camera while recording. Holding it. I'm trying to hold it in my hand while. So this is I'm gonna put like 1 drop in here. Set that to the side. Stir this up.
So the temperature of the wax is at about 140, probably about 130. So I'm going to try to mix this together now. This is my white and this is my purple. Try to do this on camera. I'm going to pour a little bit. So now I'm going to pour white. I'm trying to pour this as even as possible. Or as slow as possible, rather. So now, a little bit more.
So I am taking the second fragrance out of the heat. Pour my fragrance in immediately. Gonna stir for 2 minutes. When I finish stirring this and the temperature is right, I'm gonna pour a small portion into my smaller pitcher. I'm gonna dye that portion in the smaller pitcher, and then I'm gonna try to pour the wax next. So I'm gonna check my temperature. It's been 2 minutes. So right now it's at about 160. I'm gonna pour a small portion of my wax in here to dye. I think that should be good enough. And I'm using an ivory liquid dye, which is kind of brown. I'll try to get a small drop, 1 drop. Should be more than enough for this small amount of wax. So, start with a little bit of a brown wax and my ivory wax. So now I'm going to pour some of this wax I can fit a little bit more into this clamshell. So that's what I'm going to try to do. That's it. I will let you guys see what it looks like when they dry and if the marbling did well.